Welcome to my coding channel, Coding Learner. So this is C++ tutorial lecture number 17. So this video contains what is polymorphism and what are the different types of polymorphism. First of all, the question arises, what is polymorphism in C++? So polymorphism is an important feature of object-oriented programming, and the polymorphism word means that many forms. Poly means many and morphism means forms. So it is the ability of a message to be displayed in more than one form. And for example, we take in a real life example, like a person having a different hobbies, or a person at the same time is a father, a husband, and an employee. So the same person exhibits different behavior in the different situations. So this is called the polymorphism is in C++. Now we have to move forward. So there is a two type of polymorphism, compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. So what is compile time polymorphism? We having a two types of compile time polymorphism. First is function overloading and operator overloading, and in runtime we having a virtual function. So what is function overloading and operator overloading is, and we are cover it in the. So what is function overloading is, function overloading means when there are multiple functions with the same name but their operations are different and having a different parameters. These type of functions are said to be overloaded. Hence, this is known as function overloading. So there is a few condition of function overloading is. So first condition is parameters should have a different type. The second condition is parameters should have different number, and the third is parameters should have a different sequence of parameters. It means that how the compiler differentiate the same name function, which function are you calling. So it is a quite easier to compiler to differentiate the same function names by using a three condition which is based on our parameters of our function overloading is. So first rule is meter should have a different type. I already discussed about it. Let's say our function name is function and we having another function. um, these two function having a different operations, but the function name is similar, and we having a different parameter data type. Like first function contain int type parameter and the second function contain float type parameter. Now we have to move forward. Our second rule is parameter should have a different number. If a function number one having a two parameter and the function number two having just one parameter, it means that the compiler will differentiate about function this and function this. Now we have to move forward, and what is our second rule is, our second rule is parameter should have a different sequence of number of parameters. Like we having a function having a same name but their operation are different. We taking the first parameter as int type, and in a second function we take the first parameter as a float type. And similarly our second parameter must be in is in float type, or next parameter is in the int type. It means that compiler will easily differentiate which function are you calling, or the compiler differentiate between two function having a same name. So this is all about our function overloading. Now we have to move forward and we code our function overloading concept in C++. Now we learn about how we overload a function in C++ by taking care our three condition, which is parameter having a different data type, parameter having a different number, and parameter have a different sequence of parameter. Let's take a function add, and in add function we having a two parameter which is int type, and I would like to print the sum of x plus y and then break line. See, and I now to overload our function we having a same function name which carries our parameter having double data type x, double x and double y. So similar like to print the value of x plus y, and we having another function to overload add x which contains int x and double type y, and we having another function add which contains a double x int y. So what is happening here in our first function, the parameter is in int data, and in second function we having a parameter of double. It means that it satisfy our first rule which says that parameter having a different data type. If the parameter having different data type, the compiler easily differentiate between two function. And the next is void add which contain int type of x and double type of y, and in our next function there is double type of x and int type of y. It satisfy our third rule which says that parameters having a different sequence of parameters, and we having one more condition which says that we having a three parameter, and we print the sum of three parameter. So we didn't get any error over here because it satisfy our second condition which says that parameter having a different number. It might be similar to our first function because there is two parameter and having a int type, but here different is we having a one more parameter which differentiate our function from last function and our first function. Now it's time to call function. Let's take int 1 and 2. It's call our this call is for our first function which is declared by using two parameter which is int type, and we having another function call which take 2.0 and 3.0. This function call is for our second function which takes the float type x and y, and we having add function which take 1 and 2.0. These function is called for our third function which takes the x as a int type and y as a float type. Now we having another add function which takes the x as a float type and is our int type. Now we having a last function which contains three parameter. Let's take how we are get. Okay, we got an output. So if let's take as here int, now there is must be an error because we having a same function name and a same parameter number and parameter data type, so it violates our three conditions and we are not able to run this, and we got an error because of our compiler will confuse which function are you calling for. So that's it about function overloading.